Welcome back. This is Empower. We focus on people and workplace. Please don't go far. We're still learning something from this special lady called Grace. And Grace, before you took a break, you're saying that your life, it's all about God. How he has taken you through until where you are, yet to graduate and you have a job. It's amazing because most of the time you realize someone can graduate, wait, even sometimes you have to wait for years before you get to a job. Now, what actually gives you satisfaction as you do what you do on a daily basis?
What gives me satisfaction is the fact that I'm able to really articulate what I'm doing, because I've realized myself, if I'm in an environment where I really don't grasp what is supposed to be done,
Yes.
I find it a bit of a challenge, and even just trying to fit in, because for example, like in this profession, you have to be very updated. You have to be very detailed, oriented, for you to be able to, because a very small mistake can ruin a whole thing. So for me, what has helped me to really articulate that is the fact that you're able to understand what is expected of you.
Yes.
And not based, you really have to have the facts, not on what your other colleagues are saying.
Yes.
You really have to have the facts, because as you're giving your report, you have to be accountable for what you're doing. So there is no room for making an excuse for an error. In as much as, yes, we may make errors, you have to give a proper explanation to that. So I think I fear making mistakes. That's one of my problem. But I really try to, in as much as I may make a mistake, I really try to consolidate myself and also try and make a correction so that that mistake is not repeated again. I think that is one of the challenges I have. I fear making mistakes because I know it can be really a challenge, and even getting to be at peace with that. And I also fear failing someone. What next? After you fail them, what next? So it's really a challenge, but God is helping me.
Ah, wow.
Yes.
Amazing. What makes you different from other accountants? Because we have so many name any organization. Most of the organizations will have accounting people working the department, because of it's a common function in almost all organizations. So what makes you different?
Personally, I love to do my work on time. I don't like to procrastinate, because once you procrastinate, work increases. And it even creates room for more work and more errors. For example, we are, in my field, like we are working with deadlines. And the Kenya Revenue Authority are very strict on times and deadlines. So for example, if I'm to procrastinate, it means I might even forget. Because now you're dealing with dates like 20th, you're dealing with dates like 9th. And you also have other duties. It's not only filing returns and all that. So what if you procrastinate and end up forgetting about it? It becomes a problem. So that is one of the areas I prefer to do things on time. I prefer to really have detailed information before I even start working on something. So that by the time I'm working on something, in as much as I'm explaining about what the report is all about, I have the facts, and exactly I can really articulate what I've been doing. So, yeah, and also I'm responsible. I love to, in as much as I'm working with people, I love to allow them be responsible for what they're doing and also account for what they're doing in as much as they're reporting to me. Yes, so that I'm also not creating a boundary or an error to whoever I'm reporting to. Yes.
Amazing. Now, how does your faith influence your work? Because you always say faith comes first, then work.
So when it comes to faith, first, you really need to know that the place that God has placed you to do, it is not for your own gain, it's for God. And of course, even as you're serving, we are all serving. So you strive to work with excellence. Of course, we may have weaknesses, but at the end of the day, we are working, we are serving as unto God. So for me, I believe in doing everything as unto the Lord. In as much as whoever you may be working for, they may not be born again. But because of the standards that you stand for,
Yes.
they're able to give you a step ahead because they will not find an issue. For example, when it comes to communication, learning how to communicate in the correct way, learning how to address somebody concerning, maybe it's an issue, you know how to address the issue. You're not addressing them because you are maybe born again and they're not born again, so you want to make them feel they don't know God. As you execute your duties, let them see a difference. Let them see that this person knows what they're doing. Let them see that this person knows their God. So in this area, faith comes first. Of course, you're dedicating your work to God. And also, you know, my own knowledge, my own wisdom is not enough. It's only God who can be able to help you be able to fully understand what you're supposed to do. Because now we are in a season, we are in a generation that a lot of things are changing. Are you, in as much as you're in the accounting field, can you provide a solution concerning something where there was a gap that needs to be addressed? Yeah, for example, we are looking at the Finance Act. Yes, there are the different avenues. There are many people complaining and all that. But you see, you give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So we cannot say that they're taking, there's so much that needs to be filed. You also, as a Christian, you also need to be honest enough and provide the correct information to what the government requires. So there's so much to do with faith, honesty, diligence, and just being responsible enough, as unto the Lord.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing. That is so good. Because if you please the Lord, definitely you do the right thing. But if you don't please God, then you must be doing wrong things. That is amazing. Now, some young people like you, they are struggling at workplace because you're born again, but when they get to workplace, for example, even being an accountant, they compromise. They're not integrity issues. Why do you think young people are still struggling? They're not able to stand for their faith in such places.
I believe mostly it's because of the standards that they have, because and the boundaries. If you have certain goals and standards, of course you'll have to thrive to make yourself even a better person. Because if for example you don't create boundaries, for example the way you interact with people, for example you're a lady like me, there are people who would want to take advantage because you're a lady, and they want to mishandle you anyhow. But now if you know how to address people and know where to say no in the correct way, and know where you can allow space and where you cannot allow space, and just be able to give yourself room for you to execute your duties well, you'll be able to avoid so much unnecessary distractions. And in that you'll be able to, you know, you'll have peace with what you're doing. And people, you'll be able to give respect as you also earn respect. So it's a two-way thing. Yes, you're a lady, you're a born-again Christian, but there's a way we ought to handle ourselves. So I believe it's mostly about standards and boundaries, and also what do you call excellence? For me, excellence is pursuing God. Because if you pursue God, God will make the way for you and outline everything in detail on how you're supposed to do. God is even able to give you strategy. For example, there are so many things you're supposed to do. He'll be able to guide you on what to do first and what to do next. And by the end of the time, you'll be able to fully understand that there's a reason why you're in that place. So boundaries first, know what you want, and excellence is pursuing God. Yes.
Wow, that is so good. So you said that you have a team reporting to you.
Yes.
How many are they?
They're like 5,
Oh,
but mostly they're about they're just my colleagues, but they handle different departments. So at the end of the day, their finances that are used, and they have to report to me. Yes, so that I'm able to give a proper record.
Yes.
Yes.
So how do you ensure that you get what they are supposed to give you? Because sometimes I realize in any workplace, this information is from A, from B, but some of them, maybe I'll sit on it. You're asking, so how do you manage that relationship so that you get what you want?
I mostly now, of course, we are dealing with finances. So I will, as I issue out finance, I will know I have issued out some money to do something. So I'll have to get a feedback, a report on how the money was used, what was used, and how much is how much has been retained. Yes. So by that, for various departments, they're able to. It's easier for me to reach out to them because now there are various departments, and it's not only from one central place.
Yes.
There are some from a different area. So I'm able to get reports from them, a detailed report, if possible a write-up, so that I even have an understanding of what was happening on the ground, in as much as I'm reporting the financial reports. Yes.
Wow, that's good. Are they younger than you, or there are some who are not?
I think most of them, almost all, are older than me. Yes.
So how do you manage that? They are older than you, you're expected to get information from them, and they're able to give you that info.
I think mostly it's about just being responsible enough and get to have them understand I need to have this information.
Yes.
And in this space, you're not looking at age. We are looking at the proper way on how you're supposed to execute your work. Because in as much as you're reporting to me, it does not make me any superior. It only makes you an excellent person. And it shows that you're responsible enough to report what you're doing. So with that, just making them understand that this and this, I need this and this from you in the correct way, and giving them timelines so that you're also not pressurizing them. And working with timelines and helping them understand that what they are doing, it's not only for my own good, it's for their own good and for the growth of the business.
Wow, amazing. Yes. Now, Grace, as we close the program, someone will be watching you and just asking, okay, that lady, the way she's explaining things, I would love to be like her. What are your last words for such a young person watching you? You can look at the camera.
First of all, pursue God. If you pursue God, everything will work out for your good. The way God describes goodness, the way God describes peace, the way God describes excellence is not enough, cannot really, the way we describe all those things is not enough. But God is able to sum it all up for his own glory. So even as you're pursuing God, he's able to make straight the paths for you on your behalf. And in areas where you're trusting God to align the path for you, as long as you're in the path of God, God will always make way for you to excel, for you to find goodness, for you to find peace. And at the end of the day, you'll be a vessel for his own glory. Because at the end of the day, we have very many areas. We have the media, we have the business world, we have the education, and all of us have been placed in different fields. We cannot all serve in one place. So even as you're serving, you desire to serve in a particular area, be it business, be it in the education sector, in whatever sphere or sector, trust God and pursue God for him to give you the wisdom, divine wisdom on how to fully execute his will. To the glory and honor of his name.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was interesting to listen to you, and I believe that we have learned a lot from you. I believe you followed us, you've listened to how God is mentioned and how God is making things work. God is helping us in our careers, in our focus. So please, can we trust in him even as we do whatever we are doing, be it in the formal or informal setup? Because God has placed us here for an assignment. It has been great. This is Empower. I look forward to meet you next week. God bless you. My name is Beatrice Chuchu.